didn't bring cookies with me. I don't know. So yeah, Liberty Watch, we decided to go ahead and take on the mill levy. It was just something we hadn't really planned on, but it's just one of those things that I just keep accidentally falling into. I'm not sure how that happened. Which my husband has informed me that I need to not have any more accidents for the rest of the year. So the bottom line with the mill levy increase is, I think it's very important for people to understand that, you know, like Jeff Crank was saying out there with Americans for Prosperity, there is a place for government. There is a place for taxes that, you know, actually produce what they're supposed to. With the school system, the education system, the problem is, and we all know it's true, is that it has become so difficult to speak out against funding and education because immediately, you know, you hate children, you don't want them to succeed, you know, you're mean and all of these things, and you want the poor little things to walk in the snow and the rain and, you know, and so forth, and that's just simply not true. Too many times the education system, and it's not just Thompson School District, and that's why this is so important to keep it in perspective, that the things that are happening with Thompson School District and the things that we are uncovering, they are not unique to Thompson School District. Now, some of the things that they are doing with the open records fees, you know, making a new revenue stream out of me is a little unique, but they are all playing games. If you go look at all the different school districts out there on the web, you know, they have multiple different ways of figuring out, you know, how many students are there, so that no matter what your question or your point is, they'll be able to somehow counter and say, well, you're using the wrong pupil count. And, you know, for me, it's like, why can't we just go back, you know, to the basics, you know, basic math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and so they play a lot of games with their pupil count, their funded pupil count, their enrollments, and so forth. And this, you know, I know most of you are probably a no vote, most likely. How many are, is there anyone here that I need to convince otherwise? Okay, so what really my goal here is to help you have some facts so that when you're out there talking to people, because there are a lot of people who don't have the information, and I think at one point there was a reporter here. I don't know if she's still here, she went outside. I'm hopeful that the Reporter Herald will publish my guest column to show the community that there is opposition. But the biggest difference with this mill levy is that the one that they did in 1999 and the one that they did in 2006, they actually specified the mill rate in the ballot language. In this particular one, it is not specified. The amount is specified that they can and will collect. And so what that means is, as we all know, folks, the property values are not done declining. And the economy is not improving. So when everyone can least afford it, the property values are going to decline, and what's going to happen is the assessor will just simply have to ratchet up that mill levy so that they still collect the $12.8 million. Now, there are a lot of families that will be able to adjust to that, but there's a lot that won't, and especially those on fixed incomes. Those are the ones that are going to be hardest hit. And what I would propose is, you know, they just need to look at different ways to reduce their spending. And some of the facts are, in which the CFO of the school district and I got a little bit into it, but their budget did not decrease from last year. It did not decrease. It wasn't a huge increase, but it did not decrease. And so when you look at their salaries expense, yes, overall it decreased, but what you don't see until you actually, you know, are a crazy woman and you spend 3 days keying the entire budget into an Excel spreadsheet so you can sort all the detail the way you want, you will see that there were a lot of salaries that increased. And then there were some that decreased. And true to form, they always hit the teachers because they know that then they can go to you and pull on your heartstrings and say, the teachers, the teachers. And the reality is that the teachers' salaries, they took the biggest hit. They took, a $2.73 million salary hit, while there was an increase of $937 on other salaries. And of course the benefits go along with it. But they'll also talk about, they'll say that's because that's special education. we had to increase it. And the reason they had to increase special education is because they took a bunch of stimulus money that they knew was going to dry up, that came with all kinds of strings attached to it, and now they're left having to fund. And, make no mistake, I am not against taking care of special needs. I have a sister who has a special needs child in Oregon. I understand the need for that. But this is also about where the community comes into play and, really looking at what's going on. I also know, having my own children, some other experiences, it is in the school's best interest to classify as many kids as they possibly can as special needs, whether they are or not. And I will tell you right here, that really angers me, because I have seen the damage it does to a kid, to their self-esteem, because they wanted to classify a kid as needing some extra help, and now they're special ed and they get more money. And that just really angers me. They have the issue of their instructional coaches, which again, they're saying that their budget shortfall is about $7 million. Now, part of the problem is maybe if they would stop, spending more than they take in, they wouldn't have this problem. But the instructional coaches, there's 35 actual people, but they're part-time. And so for a part-time person, they make over $38,000 with their salaries and benefits for part-time. That's pretty good money for part-time. There's a lot of people that don't even make that full-time. And what they do, their whole job is to help the teachers, to coach the teachers to be better teachers. Now, today when I was having an interview with the reporter Harold Shelley, I had her actually giggling because it just struck her the absurdity of it when I said, does the reporter Harold provide you a coach so you can become one with your computer and be a better journalist? And she just started laughing. She couldn't stop herself because it's so absurd. At what point do the teachers take responsibility for their own professional training and skills? When you go through the budget, you will find that every department, and I mean every department, from the deputy superintendent to the custodians, have a budget line for staff development. Now, is the total money huge? No, but it's the idea that they take that money and they're just using it for professional development, which when you look through their July and August check register, a lot of the professional development has to do with eating food. So, what is it they're trying to develop? So, again, it's, the tools need to be about the kids. And, every one of these in 1999 is we need to restore teachers, we need to reduce class sizes, we need to restore programs and maintain them. 2006, the same language. And they always put in there the including but not limited to. And so the 1999 mill levy that was supposed to be all about, decreasing the student-teacher ratio and restoring positions, actually it was being used to pay for additional human resources staff, additional professional development staff. It's also being used to do athletics extra duty contracts, which the athletics department is supposed to be fee-based and supported. It also has money in there for this program called Cumbres, which is a program dedicated to recruiting and pulling in the Hispanic students to go on to college to become English Language Acquisition teachers, or ESL, English Language as a Second Language. And so that's what some of that money is being used for. In the 06, you kind of have the same thing. Some of the money is being used to, which I find this kind of ironic, for some of the community communications resource staff, the ones that are now nickel and diming me for every open records. It's kind of ironic. Then there's money being spent for the deputy superintendent for Spanish and elementary, there's transportation staff. And so again, they just need to be open and transparent in what they're doing. As I keep saying, if you want to ask for a $154 million tax increase, then be open with the citizens. Let the chips fall where they fall. Don't make it so difficult to understand your finances. If you know, which Steve Town, the CFO, has openly admitted it's very confusing, then simplify it. They're the ones with all the access to the information and the resources, and so simplify it so people can understand it and not have to go through all of this brain damage. On their enrollment, and this is the game they love to talk about, I don't know if people know this, but most of their schools Total school capacity stays 81 to 83%. Now that does not sound like overcrowding. If you look at the history of enrollment, it's pretty much stayed flat at about 15,000. Sometimes it goes a little bit above, sometimes it goes a little bit below, but staff always goes up. And it is not teacher staff. In 2004, the district employed 2,010 people. That is the last time that the statement they employ approximately 2,000 it was true. In 2005, it jumped to over 2,400. And the bulk of that came from the professional support staff. It went from 45 people to 145. And it's pretty much stayed there. Right now it's at 140. The other thing is, which, I have to have fun. So today on our website, I put out an all points bulletin, a red alert that there are teachers missing in the Thompson School District. So I just, everyone, I want you to know, if anyone sees some missing and lost teachers, please call 555, It's very important we find them. Their own numbers keep saying, 5 minutes, their own numbers keep saying that the class size is approximately 24 to 1. Some classes have a little more. Now, personally, I don't think that's bad. I turned out okay. Well, I guess that might be up for debate sometimes. But the fact is, if you look at, as of September 15th, their staff report said that they have 960 teachers. So this is basic math, folks. If you take 15,000 students and divide it by that, it does not come out 24 to 1. It does not. It comes out to 16 to 1. If you do the math of their own ratio, it says that means they have about 625, 630 students. So there's literally about 330 teachers missing. Where are they? I mean, are they coaching the other teachers? Are they in a rubber room? I mean, where are these 330 teachers? If they're so concerned about the student-to-teacher ratio, maybe they should get them in the classroom. I just please remember, if you see them, 555, I'm trying to see what else. Other things, if they're so worried about money, I found out that the one-day leadership retreat, they spent $4,200 so that they could get all of the management new polo t-shirts, have some $600 appetizers, and that was all so that they could spend the day talking about having happy employees, how to have happy, healthy staff breaks. And at the very beginning, they devoted about 10 minutes to how to have healthy constituent relationships.
Really?
Apparently, they should have spent more time on that one. So, and then the bulk of their time, though, was spent with Betsy Hell from the Economic Development Team talking to them about the ACE project. So $4,200 is what they spent that on, as they go around telling us that this is just a couple lattes. Well, I'm here to tell you it is not a couple lattes. For a lot of these families, the $1,650 or so that it works out to a month if you have a $250,000 home, that works out to bread, eggs, milk, cereal. That's what it works out to. These guys are so far removed from reality and the real world that all they can think about is giving up Starbucks. Well, we're thinking about, no, this is giving up real groceries, real tangible items that we need to subsist. So, I have some flyers that are being handed out. We have a sign, the money to buy a sign to put out on a farm. If we could just get some volunteers to help us paint it. John Buck is willing to, he'll put the sign together, stencil it. He just needs help painting the letters and installing it. We're going to have some ads start running Friday because the bake sale, which apparently this must be why the PTA always does bake sales, because they're phenomenally, they do really well. Those are the things that we're doing, it's just really just getting the word out, because I think they're not used to having opposition. I mean, we were trying to think about 2006, was there any real opposition? And we just, maybe it's because we're getting old and we can't remember anymore, but I just don't remember. And then they're just not used to being questioned. And so there are so many, the overwhelming response Saturday was that people just were so thankful that somebody is saying, no, we don't think this is okay. You should be modeling to our children what we model at home, which is being frugal, responsible, how to ride out through tough times, and decide what's a need and what's a luxury. That's really I'll get some questions. I don't have my glasses on, so, oh, come
Hey,
on.
I'm Bob Kerrigan running for the school board.